So
Okay.
are on, aren't we?
I am checking. Yes, we are.
All
We are
right.
on. We are live.
There
We
we
are not
go.
Memorex. We are live.
All right. So today we're gonna be talking about happiness.
I love happiness.
Well, don't we all? I mean, I think
Yes.
that's one of the things that everybody looks to achieve in their life is some level of happiness. And and a lot of us have a hard time getting to it, unfortunately. So I think that in order to achieve happiness, like I'm not one that believes, Coach Sharon, I'm not one that believes that happiness just like kind of happens, or that that's the norm. I think you have to be intentional about surrounding yourselves with people that are going to
Yes.
make you happier, with doing things intuitively and doing things intrinsically that are going to make you happy, with connecting. Like, I feel like you have to be intentional about your activities and your surroundings in order to get you to a place of happiness, because the default, I believe, unfortunately, is, you know, it, I don't want to say like doom and gloom, because that's not really what it is. It's just, in my experience, it's just been that things happen to folks and around folks, and that we have to always manage it. So the default, I'll speak for myself, the default for me is to just kind of be in a stage where I'm not happy, I'm not depressed, I'm just kind of mediocre, like riding the wave of life, and letting life happen to me, as opposed to really being intentional about my happiness.
I don't know.
What's your thought on
I
that?
think I'm opposite. I think I literally, when I wake up in the morning,
Mhm.
my intention is I'm going to make this the best day possible.
No,
And
no, no.
so,
Well, what I'm saying, I'm not saying, no, no, no. I'm saying if you have the intention, that's different. I'm saying, what if you did not have the intention? So think back before, okay? Think back before you knew what you know now
okay.
about what it takes to be happy, right? That that Sharon, right? Did you just wake up happy? You're just think about the span
Yeah.
of your life, because this is what I'm wondering. Yeah, this is what I'm saying, because we
Yeah.
have to be real about this. This is you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a lot of people that go around and say, oh, be happy, and everything is like butterflies and rainbows and all this stuff. And it's because people like that and people like us have learned how to have happiness in our lives.
Right. Right. That's true.
But you know what I mean? But like, was that natural, or did you have to learn it to a place where now it just becomes routine and it becomes natural because it's habitual for you to do these things that you don't even have to think about at this point, to set your intention to have a happy day?
Yes, that's true. That's true. It wasn't always that way.
You understand what I'm saying, right? And that's
Yes.
why, I had to point that out, because I think that there's a lot of people, and I mean, and you know, we encounter them. They're just like, oh, be happy. But it's like, it's so much easier said than done when you don't know where to start.
That's true. That's true. And yeah, I think this goes back to what we taught our first time around, what we spoke about our first time
Which
around
one was that?
in our Fit New Life group. Remember we
Yeah,
talked
but which
about,
one? Yeah, but what are we talking? We talked about a lot of things. So
well,
what?
it's at the very beginning when we did our first 30-day group
Mm-hmm.
with Fit
Oh,
New
you're talking about
Lifers.
the habit change challenge.
Right. We talked about habit change. So this goes back to that.
Yes. Okay. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Right. Exactly. You have to. I mean, everything that you do in terms of your lifestyle is going to be the sum total of the habits that you created. Right. So it's like, in the morning, what do you do? When you're in a tough situation, what do you do to maintain your happiness? Right. Because things aren't always going to be, they're just not always going to be in a place where you feel like you can always operate as your best self. And we always want to aim for that. We always want to aim to be our best selves, but what does that look like in reality, right? So you mentioned something about the first thing that you do when you wake up is you set an intention. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because that's a strategy that folks can use, and start to create a routine and a habit around that. So yeah, talk about that a little bit.
For me, I'll get up. So I wake up in the morning, and like everybody else, I have bad nights, where I don't sleep well or whatever. So my alarm will go off and I'll wake up and I'll be like, ugh, I don't want to get up. I don't want to get up. And of course, start thinking a little bit negatively. Maybe I don't want to go to work today. Maybe this, maybe that. So I have taught myself to say, okay, you know what? I have all these spinning discs, just say, as an example. So what disc do I want to get on? Do I want to get on this low disc that has me in just an mood? Or do I want to get on a higher spinning disc? If I jump on that higher spinning disc, which is my intention to have a good day, then in the back of my mind, I'm on that disc. And now I've started my day at a higher level than I would have had I picked the lower disc. If that makes any sense to you.
I like that. No, it does. It does, because it's about choices about what energy you're going to flow in, right? What wave of energy you're going to flow in. If you're saying I'm going to work on a higher energy level, a higher vibration, then I'm not going to concern myself with these lower energy things that are going to take away and move me away from my happiness. And, I always talk about how things are either bringing you closer to your goals or they're bringing you away from your goals, right? It's real simple when you have to make a choice. Like if you set happiness as a goal of yours, then the things that happen during the day either bring you closer to that or they bring you further away from that, right? When you wake up and, for some of us who meditate or for folks who pray or, whatever morning thing you do, for some people it's yoga, for others it's a morning workout, right? Whatever you do first thing in the morning, does that make you happier? Does that bring you closer to happiness? Does that bring you closer to a chain of events that will lead you to being happy, right? When you go to work, are you choosing work that is going to make you happy? Do you enjoy what you're doing? Or are you at work and you hate your job and you're just there for a paycheck, right? And if that's the case, it's like, well, what changes can you make that will bring you closer to that goal of feeling a certain way? And it is a bit of a feeling, right? It's not just okay, I check these things off and here's the metric for happiness. Like, what does that metric for happiness look like when you're trying to relate it back to a feeling?
Right.
Is it a giddiness? Is it, you notice yourself smiling more? What is that metric? It can be hard to figure out when you just have no idea what it feels like to be in that good space.
And with me, there's different levels of happiness. So I've got that giddy happiness, I've got that elated happiness, but sometimes my happiness is more of a form of just being settled and calm. You know what I'm saying? It's not elation, but it's not sadness. It's just calm. So I am training myself to be happy, sometimes even in an unhappy situation. Now, that's not going to make me elated,
right?
But it's going to make me calm.
Now,
but I still consider that happiness.
I was just going to ask you that. Is calm to you the same as happiness?
To me, it is. But there's, like I said, there's different levels of happiness. If I'm calm, I'm happy. If I'm in a place where I'm calm and my mind is calm and my body, not even necessarily my body, because my body can move all over the place if my mind is calm. But if my mind is calm, I'm in a settled place, and that's a happy place for me. So that's where it starts, and then it goes up from there.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I use the term centered, right, or grounded.
Yes.
Right. And you feel centered and grounded. It's like you're connected, you're coming back to the middle, you're coming back to who you are. And I think there is a sense of happiness, right? When it comes to really understanding who you are and the power that we have within us, right? With that comes like confidence, and comes the ability to speak up for what you want, and comes the ability to live the kind of life that you want to, and give yourself permission to be free in those choices, and to, you know, operate within the framework that you need to in order to get to where you want to get to, in order to live the kind of life and feel the way you want to feel. But we have to give ourselves permission. I think a lot of times, you know, we sometimes are the stumbling block that's between us and our happiness goal, because we don't give ourselves permission to experience the happiness.
True.
You know, and I feel like
True.
that can be because either we become addicted to drama. Okay, we become addicted to being depressed, so we become addicted to depression, addicted to the anxiety. We become addicted to all of those negative feelings a lot of the time. And also, the world outside of us doesn't help.
Right. Right.
We have like this shared disease of, let's bring on more and more and more pressure. You know, like, you can be really busy and not be stressed out about it, or you can, you know, have a lot going on, and you can have things, you can have drama in your life happening around you and still remain centered and calm and collected and find your place of happiness, you know?
That's true. And that's, you know, it's funny that you would say that, because I've talked about this with both my kids. When we talk about depression and anxiety and stuff like that, I say that, like you said, it's almost like a habit. I said to them, you're so, you know, you get so used to being in this state, because this is a state that you're in, that it almost feels uncomfortable to get out of that state. So I think there's a lot of people that are uncomfortable with happiness, and they don't realize that that's what it is. It's just that the other habit that they've created, or that feeling that they've created, is more of a comfortable feeling, because that's where they are so much.
Yeah. And it's also like, do people deserve to be happy? You know, like, do you believe that you deserve to be happy? And I think that's a question that we all have to ask ourselves. I spent most of my life, childhood into my early adulthood, not being happy and searching for that feeling. Like, what does it mean to be happy? Or only having little brief flashes of happiness, right? And then something happens and I allow myself to be completely derailed because of this event, right? And we know in life it's unpredictable. Events can happen, you know, back to back to back to back to back. And so, you know, when you've hit this kind of like rock bottom, then you have to find a place of, well, I'm either going to stay here, or I'm going to make a choice to feel differently and to find whatever I can. You latch on to whatever you can. That becomes a ray of hope, a ray of sunshine, you know, and a source of happiness. Because without having that, what kind of existence are we living? Right? Like,
Pretty miserable.
Pretty miserable, you know. And I think that we all deserve, regardless of you know, who you are, I think everybody deserves to live with some kind of contentment in their life if they are still living. Because
Absolutely. Right.
you know, you're not going anywhere until you're going somewhere. You know what
That's
I mean?
right. So you might as well make the best of where you are.
That's right. Exactly. So I thought that this was really important to talk about, because it just, us giving ourselves permission to experience joy and happiness. It's just, to me, it's beyond important. To me, this was a life goal, and nothing lasts forever, right? So you can say, all right, I'm going to have this moment of happiness, but enjoy that. Don't look around the corner for the next devastating moment.
Right.
You know, don't be
Right.
in the moment and then be like, oh, well, I'm too happy today. Guess something must be lurking around to
I was
steal
just
my
gonna say, yeah,
joy.
when's the next brick gonna fall? Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we do that. And then we have this anxiety around like,
It's
when is
true.
my world going to come crashing down again?
It's true. Oh, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true.
Yeah, and we say that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, and we say it innocently. We don't necessarily mean to do damage by saying it, but there is so much power in the words that we speak. And you know, and I would say equally as powerful are the thoughts that we think, right?
Oh yeah.
You know, and they say energy goes where energy flows, right?
Yep.
Or energy flows where energy go. I don't know. It's one of those. Do you know the saying?
Yes, I know. Yes.
What I'm saying, right? If you think about it too much, like you're gonna manifest that, right? That's the law of attraction. So
Absolutely.
it's just, why not think some happy thoughts and not to be corny about it? Don't be cheesy with it, you know, just give yourself permission to be happy. Simple.
Yeah. And happiness means different things to different people. So it's just that feeling of joy, no matter where on the scale that is, whether it's joy down here or joy up here or somewhere in between, but it's still just that feeling.
Yeah. And to point out too, happiness is not the things you have. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna be happy when I get a car and a house, you know, and a family. Like I'm gonna be happy then. Like, no, you're supposed to come to the table happy. You're supposed
Right.
to figure out like what that means to you, you know, deep down, right? In your inner being. What does it take to make that inner child happy? What does it take to make that inner you happy? Without, if there was nobody around and nothing around, what would you do to connect? You know, and I like, you know, going back to what you said earlier about the calming thing, you know, and I said grounded centeredness. For me, it's when I connect to my purpose, right? And when I live in constant gratitude. And we've talked about all these we're not going to touch on it in this talk, but we've talked about all these different concepts being really important, and they are interconnected one with the other.
Yep.
You live in gratitude, you're more likely to be happy. You prioritize as a goal happiness and being centered, you're more likely to be in more positive states
Right.
as
Right.
you're, you know, as you're maneuvering through life,
Yep.
more
Absolutely.
resilient in the tough moments.
Absolutely
So
true.
where do
I
we
agree
start?
100%.
Where do we start? Where do people start? Or where would you start, right? I have an idea of where I would start, but let's end with this, right? Where would you start, Coach Sharon? And then I'll go with where I would start. Step one for people who have no idea how to achieve happiness and how to tap into their own happiness. Where would you start?
You know, I'm trying to think back of when I decided I was going to start this. I think that one of the most, for me, well, it kind of depends. Meditation or prayer to me is very important.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a higher power of some sort that you believe in, whether it's spiritual, whether it's just whether it's a God, whether it's whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
to have that peace. If you don't have that, as some people don't, then sit down and start writing down the stuff in your life that is important.
Mm-hmm.
Write down the stuff in your life that you have, the things that you have in your life that are good.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to be materialistic though, right?
Right.
It can be,
Right. That's what I'm saying. So
I have
whether
my
it's
health, I have, right?
exactly. So I think sometimes when you see that stuff in black and white, especially if you're not a spiritual person and you don't pray and you don't meditate, sometimes writing it down and seeing it in black and white makes you more aware of the things that you have that you should be grateful and happy about.
Yeah. And you know what? I agree with you. My step one was going to be to walk in gratitude. And and that can be a couple of different things. That can be waking up in the morning or before you go to bed, writing down some things that you're grateful for. That can be doing mirror work and looking in the mirror and saying, I would say, like, Coach Brandi, I'm grateful that you have allowed me to be happy. You know what I mean? Or
Yep.
kind of grateful that you take the time to feed your body healthy, nutritious foods. Coach Brandi, I'm grateful for the fact that you pay attention to our body as a vessel, and that you treat it as such. You know what I mean? Like those
Right.
kind of things. Right. That's another way that we can do it. There's so many different ways that you can walk, just walk in your gratitude. But I think, and I love that we're on the same page with this. Step one has to be gratitude.
Right.
It has to be gratitude. Yeah, it has to be gratitude. So I think even in our group, the Fit New Lifers group, for our clients in our community, I think that's the focus that we should think about. We should tap back into that. Okay, we're in the month of July, right? Let's move in, especially now that things are opening back up, like really, really opening back up in the world. Even though we're still in the midst of the pandemic, but the past year has just been a tough year for so many reasons for people. So many people have not been able to find their happiness or have been confronted with real moments. It's just been a rough year. So I think it's a good time for us to all reset, to reevaluate what we do have in our lives, even though we've been through a period where we've lost so much collectively.
Right. Absolutely.
Also gained a lot. So we have to be grateful for that, and we have to give honor to that, because without doing that, it's going to be very difficult for any of us to tap into that happy place. For sure.
Agreed.
For sure. And I think that's a good place to end. It's always great talking with you, Coach Sharon. Always good to have, the Talk Thursdays. And I think that hopefully our audience also appreciates it. If anybody decides to do some of these gratitude, these gratitude strategies and exercises that we mentioned in order to get you to step one of the happiness sort of ladder, please share it with us, share it in the comments, reach out to us, DM us, do whatever, that you feel comfortable with. I know that I'm comfortable with all of those different things. So just let us know that you're taking this advice and doing, you're trying it out. Let us know how it goes. All right.
Great idea. I'd love to hear from them.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So we shall see you next week, next Thursday.
Yes.
All right. Well, everybody.
Be there, everybody.
Yeah, be there. What do you say? Be there, be square.
That's right. That's right.